Good afternoon. I'm Jim Eskin. On behalf of Eskin Fundraising Trading, I would like to welcome you, not 100 yet, we're getting close, number 99 in our nonprofit webinar empowerment series. And my guest today, I like for a lot of reasons. Number one, and the title of this webinar is monthly giving means more money. And I don't think our guest invented monthly giving, but I don't know anybody on the planet who knows more about monthly giving than Erica Waasdorp. Another reason, she's president of a direct solution. Another reason I like her. And believe me, just being the world's greatest expert on monthly giving is enough. But she's on my favorite spot on the planet next to San Antonio, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Welcome, Erica. You've been with us before. Two questions quickly. How's the weather on Cape Cod today? Yeah. And when I visit you, hopefully in October, are you going to take me to the best clam chowder or to the best lobster roll?
Well, I think you won both, right? So, yeah. I'm actually not a lobster roll fan, but I'm a great clam chowder fan. So we'll get you there.
Big bowl of clam chowder.
Big bowl of that. So, it's kind of overcast right now. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. And
50
again,
degrees.
Thank you for all the leadership that you provide our sector. I mean, you are a tireless author and writer and presenter and social media person. And you are what I call a lifelong learner and a lifelong sharer. So thank you. We're starting a new segment right now. I'd like him to get ready. Bobby Clark is president of a nonprofit called Heroes Among Us. Bobby, if you can hit the panelists button, we'd like to bring you. Welcome, Bobby.
Hello.
This is a new segment called Heroes Among Us. And I don't know how to say this, but just say it. America is facing a crisis. Our children, our grandchildren, our schools are not safe. And these tragedies and mass shootings are just happening to be too common. And I know 90 miles west of San Antonio, there's a town called Uvalde. And you probably remember it was about a year ago, I believe, Bobby, was on May 24th, that a mass shooter killed 19 elementary school kids and 2 adults. I've had a chance to meet with Bobby Clark, who is president of Safer America for All, and see a demonstration. Bobby, I think I'm going to give you a whole 4 to 5 minutes to share the mission, the vision, and give an update on a Safer America for All.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's an honor to be here to share this amazing story of how do we find a way to make our kids come home safe. And kids are afraid to go to school. Parents are afraid to let them go to school. And I started Safer America for All, 501c3 nonprofit, and about 4 years ago. The COVID thing slowed us down for a little bit. We're now back up and running. And we're a national clearinghouse of information, resources about bullying, about mental health, substance abuse, and technologies. There's a lot of resources out there about how to make your schools and your communities safer, but nobody knows where to go to do that. And so we are working together with a new company called Safe Evac, and they have developed patent pending technology that changes the world. It has very smart signs in their technology that they can go in and put smart signs in there. And when a gun goes off, they can have people in the area shelter in place. And then everybody else in the school will have a green exit sign or in their room. It says, go this way. And the kids and the teachers can be safely sheltered in place within 20 seconds. And
can you repeat that? How long was that?
About 20 seconds. Basically, If a gunman comes in or you're shelter in place, you want to put the desk in front of the door, you want to put the chairs in front of the door, you want to turn out the lights and hope and pray. And that can be done in about 20 seconds. With the smart signs that they have, they're going to be at what we have found, and they tested this with real students in a school by putting the mock-up signs up and the like, 15 minutes of training. In 30 seconds, the entire school was evacuated. So that fundamentally changes things, because it usually takes 3 minutes for them to react enough to call 911, because everything's kind of panicking at that point. And usually it takes up to 10 minutes for maybe 12 minutes for them to get there. But this is a way to get kids out of the school and get those in trouble in a danger zone into a safe environment and the like. If kids are trapped in the hallways, there's arrows that point them where to go to get out of there.
Bobby, and is your vision to make this available in all 50 states?
Absolutely, and probably will go roll worldwide. But what we're focusing now is on the U.S. and being able to get it in the schools. And one of the key things on our website, I mentioned bullying, substance abuse, mental health, the resources available, but fundraising. What we're going to do is focus on how we can help at a district level, at a community level, and even grander than that, because we want to raise funds to provide 20%, 30%, 40% of the costs of this new technology or other technologies. There's a lot of technology already out there.
Okay, Bobby, I want to mention, this is your contact information. Is that correct? That's in the chat space.
Yes.
And people can reach out to you through the website. You are sharing your cell phone, and you're willing to collaborate again with partners around the country.
Yes.
And Lenny, again, I mean, this is a crisis. And I think on behalf of grandparents and parents and teachers, and especially school children, thank you for your leadership, your commitment, and your vision. And thank you for joining us today, okay? I really don't think there's anybody on the planet that knows more about monthly giving. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate you. I'm jealous of you in so many ways. Now you're a book ahead of me. So congratulations on your second and latest book, Monthly Giving Made Easy. And by the way, I think did you record an audio version of that book?
I did. Yes, I did.
Did you? Yeah. Was it you, the voice?
No, it was not me. No. It's a 4.5 hour book. So I used a company, and I could choose who was going to do it. So
I don't know.
That's there now.
Did you use somebody with a Boston accent?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. So
hey, listen,
I don't have a Boston accent either. So
I don't think. Yeah. Congratulations on your second book. And why don't you take a few minutes to describe the contents?
Yeah. So when I first started in monthly giving, which is 30 years ago, I worked for that big organization. I actually did monthly giving in 6 countries. And at the time, it was mail and phone. Well, boy, things have changed, right? So, so I wrote the first book, Monthly Giving, The Sleeping Giant, in 2012. And social media and email campaigns, websites were really just starting to become more commonplace and used. Since then, every single donor-based CRM, every single payment platform has added recurring giving to it. So, when originally monthly giving was more expensive, now the cost is virtually nothing. It's time. So that's why I wrote the second book, Monthly Giving Made Easy, because every organization has the tools. You have a website. You have a payment platform, a donor-based CRM. You can manage your monthly donors. You just have to go and ask donors to consider giving monthly. Yeah. So you have the tools. So that's why I wrote Monthly Giving Made Easy. You can literally open it up and say, and put a pin somewhere and saying, okay, I can add a button here. I can add a button to a homepage. I can add a little message on my reply form. I can add a little message on my donation form, trying to get people to make a monthly gift. I can ask a video. I can ask a monthly donor to give a testimonial on video. Why are you, Jim, you're a monthly donor. Why are you giving monthly?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's like a lot of little things. I mean, monthly giving is not, it's not like you're doing it once and then you're done. It's a constant, it's literally like planting of seeds, right? You're planting trees, you're planting the seeds, and you need to give donors the opportunity to consider a monthly gift. So that's where that monthly giving made easy came from, because you have the tools, you just got to apply it. And it's just amazing as to, I mean, everybody has emails, everybody does social media. So, but not everybody asks for monthly gifts, right? So, you know,
we're going to change that. Okay.
we're going to change that, right?
Hey, by the way, I read somewhere that you were ranked the number 10 fundraising expert in the United States. I question the 9 folks who are above you. So I'm going to ask you,
Yeah, I don't know how I got on that
I'm
list.
going to ask 2 broader questions outside of monthly giving.
Mhm.
You know, we're finally beginning to return to normal after COVID-19 and social distancing. But what changes in the discovery, in the cultivation, in the solicitation of and stewardship of donors and prospects are going to remain?
I would say, you know, I think a lot of donors have become much more comfortable with online giving.
Yeah.
So if you had older donors that were before that were not quite ready now, you know, like they had to go see their grandkids online and, you know, and FaceTime and all of that. So they're much more comfortable with online giving, with giving from their phone, using QR codes. So I see that as a big factor. And I think the other thing is, and I know like a lot of nonprofits struggle with that. Like, well, should I go back to an in-person event? Should I do an in-person tour to donors, you know? So, or can it be a virtual tour? And the reality is it can be both.
Yes.
So yes, you can give somebody a virtual tour. Donors don't necessarily have to come to your office, right? So you can just literally walk through it, and say, okay, well, here's the latest. This is what your money has made possible, right? So I think again, donors have become much more comfortable with that. So use it to your advantage, right? So I think
it's, you know, as you said, it's redrawn the map.
yes.
Usually a local nonprofit was restricted to getting donors and prospects within, say, 25 or 50 miles of their location. And now through all the video technology, it's greatly expanded the geography for a nonprofit, say in Cape Cod, to reach out to a donor in San Antonio, vice versa.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you one other broader question, and then we're going to dig into, we had someone, I think it was Bridget, who said they're getting poor results, and we're going to help her to get to excellent. But why do you think there are so many community and business leaders who are absolutely fearless in everything else they have to do in their lives, with the exception of asking someone they know for a gift to a favorite nonprofit or cause?
Oh boy, that's a very interesting question. And again, on Cape Cod, we deal with that a lot, obviously, because everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people are on multiple boards and involved in multiple organizations. So I'm not sure. I don't really have the answer to that question, to be honest.
I don't hear you say that much, by the way. Erica.
What's that?
I don't hear you say that much.
Yeah, that I don't know the answer. Oh yeah, sometimes I say that. So I think it's like, if they're not engaged themselves, I think it's harder to ask somebody else for money, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're just worried that maybe it's that friendship, that they might lose the friendship. I'm not really sure. I think it's more like, if you're not even invested yourself. So if you're on multiple boards, or, like, if you want to spread your giving among multiple organizations, it's harder to say, look, I really need you to step up and join me in making a big gift here, right? So,
Sure.
but I think that's why the monthly giving piece is so much easier, because you can say, look, hey, I'm spreading my wealth out amongst all these different organizations. Can you help with a smaller amount, right? Because these are the organizations that are really crucial. So
That was a beautiful transition, by the
yeah.
way.
Oh, was that okay?
The primo.
My
Okay, I'll tell you
Toastmasters
what.
training,
Yeah,
right?
right in there. Yeah. Hey, let's dig in
Yeah.
now to monthly giving. What is monthly giving, and what isn't monthly giving?
Oh, okay. So monthly giving is automated gifts that are coming from a credit card or a bank account, that are passed on to to a nonprofit. They're typically smaller amounts. Usually right now, I'm waiting for the latest statistics from M&R Strategic Benchmark. Does a lot of research amongst online gifts. But right now the average monthly gift is about $25 a month. So that's $300 a year. And again, it comes in automatically. The donor does not have to renew it. And it's money that a nonprofit can count on to support their operating. So typically monthly giving is unrestricted revenue.
I love unrestricted money.
Unrestricted
I
revenue.
love unrestricted money.
Yeah, unrestricted. And again, it helps nonprofits with their mission, right? So yeah.
Say we have some folks listening and they're excited. We don't have a monthly giving program. What's it take to start a monthly giving initiative?
So again, the first step is, like, you look at the online forums that you have on your website, and make sure that it has the make this recurring option, on the form, on the online donation form. The second thing is, like, I recommend that if your system allows it, because again, not every system is different and there's a gazillion systems. So if your system allows it, create a monthly only form, so that the only option to give there is monthly. The amounts are lower than you see on your one-time giving page. And the reason is, like, once you have that created, then you can start driving people to go there. So, so those are the things. And then make sure that you test your pages, and that the thank you messaging that's associated with it, that it is exactly what you wanted to say. This is where, when I start working with a client, the first thing I do is I become a monthly donor. And I see a lot of problems. So, like, okay, it doesn't say monthly gift, and it doesn't say this, and it's like very standard, and so just like make sure that you test it. It's like it's simple, but it's essential.
Test, retest, and test again, right?
Yes.
Hey, you talk about how lucrative monthly giving is for nonprofits of any size and from any sector.
Yeah.
Do you have some data that you can back that up with?
Yeah. So, again, obviously, like, the reality is there's not that many statistics when it comes to monthly giving, unfortunately. So I actually have a page on my website. If you like go to my website, adirectsolution.com, and do search for statistics.
And by the way, I'm going to butt in.
Yeah.
Please go to that website. I go there every day. It's very rich. And
lots of resources for
I know
free.
you're busy, but thank you for the way you share your knowledge with the sector. Go to her website.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And so anyway, so you can look in statistics, and there's any statistic that I've seen, any trend analysis that's been published is pretty much there. So Fundraising Effectiveness Project does not have anything on recurring giving in the mix yet, but I know they're talking about changing that. So that's good. But coming back to, so I can only base on those statistics I'm getting, and of course anecdotally from working with some clients. But yeah, any organization, if you look at the industry average, $25 a month, that means $300 a year. It does differ by type of organization. I don't know if anybody here is like a public TV or public radio supporter. So if you're not, I mean, I highly recommend that you start there, and you can be $5 a month, right? You get the advantage of Passport and all that stuff. Public radio and public TV, they have in many cases about 50 to 60% of their members giving monthly.
Yeah.
It's huge, right? So they're
Why do you-
really been
why-
pioneers
Why
in that.
do you think they started before others, or why do you think that's so?
They started before others, and again, they were willing to say, okay, I'm okay with getting $5 a month if that means I don't have to renew the membership, right? And I can still upgrade them to higher levels down the road, which they're doing, and I can still get extra gifts, right? So, but yes, so they started this, but they're seeing about $11 on average, right?
Yeah.
So, but they have a lot more of them. So, others like health organizations, arts organizations tend to have higher monthly gifts. Animal welfare organizations and environmental tend to have about like $18, $19 a month. So it's a little bit, so it does differ what you can expect. But I think the success, those organizations that have started seeing growth in their programs, they annualize the revenue of their monthly donors.
Yeah.
So they started saying, okay, well, how many monthly donors do I have? And I dare the people that are, on today's session here with you and say, okay, take a look at how many monthly donors you have now. What's their average monthly gift? What's the annualized value of that group?
Yeah.
That's where you are right now. That's your benchmark. And you may be really pleasantly surprised as to what the value is of those, or of those small monthly donors, right? Because a lot of times people that don't deal with monthly giving, like, they're not fundraisers per se, they're like, what are we worried about these little guys for, right?
Yeah.
Well, the reality is those little guys, those are the alums, right?
Yeah.
And you have to, steward them. You have to work with them. You have to upgrade them. You have to keep them engaged, and to lead them to the bigger gift, right? That's what monthly donors are. They're your feeders for legacy gifts.
And I have 3 words: lifetime donor value.
Yes.
But anyways, John, do I see we have a question in the Q&A box?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
By the
Is
way,
there-
Erica and I have a deal. If it's a very easy question, I'm going to take it. If it's challenging, it's hers. Okay.
Yes, and Jerry is asking, is there a recommended minimum for monthly gifts, like $10 a month, for instance?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Is that a challenging one or is it an easy one?
Oh, that's
Go ahead.
Erica's. That's Erica's.
So it depends on your system. So like some require it to be like $10 a month, but typically you can start with $5 a month. In fact, I saw like an animal organization, they tested $2 a month in an email campaign. And they were really worried, like, oh my God, we're going to get $2 a month people. And what they found was they got more people to sign up, and they still gave about the same average that they were normally getting from when they went out with like $5 or $10 a month. So, so again, it's like all about like, oh, as little as $2 a month. And then people come to your page and you have number of different options. And then like, I can do $15 a month, you know? So I'm like $2 a month. What's that going to do? So, but it's like, but you get more people to go there. So, but it depends on your system. So find out first what your minimum is. So.
Hey,
Great question.
Erica, one of the biggest challenges facing the entire nonprofit sector is donor retention. I don't know. I think it's hovering somewhere between 40 or 50%. It changes by industry. But can you share some data how monthly giving can be your solution to donor retention?
Yeah, so I think the latest stat I saw from Fundraising and Foundation Project was like it's about like overall donor retention is like between 40 and 43% right now. So it's gone down, right? But if you can get a donor to give monthly, you're looking at about 80 to 87% if they give by credit card,
Wow.
and like 94% if they can give by bank account. So EFT, ACH, electronic bank transfer. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
so it's
Wow.
huge.
Wow.
So you double it.
Yeah. Hey, this is Jim's left field question, but I think I saw on your wish. And by the way, we're going to share all of Erica's contact information at the end of the show, including her website, her email, her phone number, and everything but her beach address.
I don't
I
live on the
think I
beach, by the
saw-
way, just so you
Oh,
know. I don't. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
I think I saw on your website, and it fascinated me that checks are going to disappear by the year 2026. Could you
Mhm.
amplify on that?
Well, it was just like I was actually working with a client and getting ready for like what we call like a monthly donor summit, and so and I did some research, and this one came up, and I don't have it handy, so but I will send it to you, Jim, afterwards, so you can share it with the group. Is and because I knew it was already. I'm from the Netherlands originally, so I've been here 30 years. I'm celebrating 30 years in this country. So the Netherlands paper checks have already gone away. They just
Yeah.
like started going away. New Zealand paper checks have already gone away. In this country, a lot of younger people don't have checks anymore. They just have their bank account information. So yeah, it's expected to go away, which is another reason why, monthly giving is such a tremendous, wonderful thing, because those organizations that are really dependent on direct mail and people sending in checks, that is going away. So it's like it behooves us to start converting donors to start giving online and by credit card and EFT. So
You know, it strikes me after 30 years, working as a practitioner, processing the typical check that's put in an envelope and sent by US mail, that takes a lot of work.
it does.
And it sounds like, too, that monthly giving is so much more efficient.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. Much more efficient.
Erica, are there any type of demographic groups that seem to be more comfortable and bigger users of monthly givers?
It's again, it's a great question. So it depends. I'm going to give you the typical consultant answer, because again, every organization is different. I was just reading a study in the UK actually that donors over 55 are more comfortable giving by direct debit, which is EFT. So rather than giving by credit card, a lot of a lot of people may not even have had a credit card, but they had a checking account, so they were comfortable with that. It's a really all over the map, but we are seeing that younger donors, they're comfortable with subscriptions, right? They're getting their deliveries, so they're comfortable giving by bank account information. So by bank account. So they're very comfortable, giving smaller amounts electronically and automatically.
Yeah.
But also older donors are, I have a couple of religious organizations I work with, and it comes some animal welfare organizations. They're typically older donors, but they too are comfortable, making monthly gifts. So, but you have to ask, right? So I think that's the key. And in this time and day where everything's gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
So why not give the donor the idea that they can make a difference with an amount that they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Whether it's $5 or $10 or $20 a month, right? Couple, 50 cents a day, 63 cents a day. I mean, if you look at some of the organizations that have been doing this for a while, that, like the ASPCA, Animal Welfare Organization, they get 60% of their revenue from monthly giving.
Wow. Wow.
But, and they've been running the same ad, 63 cents a day, $19 a month for years.
Huh.
Well, and they're testing, right? So, so they must be doing something right? So kind of look at some of those organizations that have been in this world for a long time, and then say, okay,
Yeah.
well, all right, let me try that as well. And I know sometimes it's like, yeah, but the board member or the boss says, well, you got to start $50 a month. And it's like, well, that's too much, right?
Yeah.
So okay, you might, but you will get some. You will.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of get that low entry point, right? That, like every donor can help.
Yeah.
And donors want to help. That's the number one reason why they give monthly. They want to help. But they can't write the $100 checks or the $500 checks, right? So yet. So yeah.
Hey,
Well
Jim,
said.
I've got a couple of questions here that popped up.
Sure.
Susan wants to know, how do you get people to increase their monthly gift? And Margie is asking if you're seeing anyone donating in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Let's say I can give you both those questions. I think we were going to talk about upgrading donors. Okay.
Yes, upgrading.
Talk about that process.
Yeah. So upgrading. Okay. So upgrading, absolutely, you can do that. You don't want to do it too soon, right? So you want to make sure that the monthly donor has been giving monthly at least 6 months. Typically that sweet spot is like 9 to 12 months, right? So if they've been giving monthly for 9 months, they're used to it. You've done your stewardship, you're telling them how their monthly gifts are making a difference, right? So you can ask them for an upgrade and say, look, everything's gotten more expensive. Would you consider a small increase? Usually like $1 to $2 to $5 a month. Like the formula is like 1/4 to 1/3 of their monthly gift. And then you ask them for their new amount. The upgrading in terms of systems, I was just talking about this today. I was teaching a workshop, is like a little clunky. So make sure that when you get, like, just like what I said earlier, like test your forms, right? Make sure that you test your process and that your donor base CRM tells you exactly what does it mean? What do you have to do? I know everybody's like, oh yeah, we want donor portals and things like that. The reality is, if you ask a donor to go to their donor portal and upgrade their gift themselves, most of them don't remember how to get in there. They don't know. So they'll typically contact you as the nonprofit and say, can you do it for me? So there's that.
You
So
know,
you really
Erica,
want to
what
make
I'm
sure
thinking about that other question.
Yeah.
You are the monthly giving expert on the planet. I think, cryptocurrency is something so new, so complex. With your permission, I'd like to recruit an expert that will dedicate the whole webinar to talk about cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And we'll handle it that way. Margie, is that okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to make one more comment on that, is that if you look at your online payment platforms, see what type of payment options they have, right? Like some have started adding Venmo, some have, Google Pay and Apple Pay, but cryptocurrency is not part of that yet. So in terms of like giving monthly, crypto is not part of that yet, but who knows, that might change.
I'll tell you what you should have on your website, in addition to monthly giving, donor advised funds.
Yes.
I mean, they are real, and that's I don't know, Fidelity alone was like $10 billion.
Yeah. And you can make recurring gifts through DAFs.
Yeah.
So, and they usually have, they usually have, at least I know Fidelity does, and they usually have like minimums of like $50 a month.
Yeah.
So you can set up frequencies. You can set up end dates for those recurring gifts.
And before we move on, Esther just had a question.
Sure.
Do you exclude monthly donors from all appeal mailings?
Oh, great question. You guys have
Yeah.
great questions. So
That is one.
no, the answer is unless they tell you that they really don't want to hear from you, they only want to hear from you once a year or something like that, or not at all. I mean, yes, you can include your monthly donors in and what I call like extra gift appeals. So again, take a look. How often do you reach out to your donors now, right? If you're sending newsletters in print, include your monthly donors in your newsletters. Every newsletter is a great way to steward your monthly donors, right? Every e-newsletter is a great way to steward your monthly donors. I recommend that you have like a tiny little variation in your email that says, thank you for your ongoing monthly support, or thank you for being a member of the monthly giving club, or whatever it is, if you have a name for your program, right? So just make sure that you recognize your monthly donors in there. And then if you have a giving day, or if you do Giving Tuesday, again, include your monthly donors there. If you're sending out, say you're sending out 4 appeals a year to your donors, then pick the 2 that are the most successful. Usually your year-end appeal, and it may be like a membership type approach or something like that in January, February, right?
Yeah.
So take a look at your most successful appeals. And, again, because donors, and then take a look, if say you're doing a special project or a capital campaign, something that you say, what would I or you as a monthly donor be peeved about if you didn't hear about it? Right.
Yeah.
So, and you're like, well, wait a minute. I would have loved to have supported that special project, but you didn't tell me about it, right? So think about that. Like what is important for the monthly donor to know about?
Yeah.
And is there a match? Great, include your monthly donors, but recognize them, say, we're asking you for an extra gift.
Yeah.
It's clearly an extra gift. So also be very careful with the amounts that you're asking for. So unless you know for certain what the donor's one-time gift was before they became a monthly donor, I recommend that you leave that extra gift amount blank. Say, yes, I'll make an extra gift of $ line, right? So because you don't want to ask them for an extra gift that's the same as their monthly gift, because that might not be enough, right? So leave it blank.
I like that. I
yeah.
like that. Hey, how is the decision usually made in a nonprofit? Okay, we've heard, Erica, we want to start a monthly giving program. I mean, is it bottom up, top down, or how do you see the decisions usually made?
It's like, well, you're on this right now, and obviously I don't know what your role is in your organization, but it's usually a mix. It should be part of your overall diversification plan, right? So you want to look at all of the different sources of your revenues and say, look, monthly giving needs to be part of that, right? If you can convince your finance folks and your bosses that monthly giving is important, and again, you can do that by saying, look, if we were able to generate 100 new monthly donors that give $25 a month, that's the value of these monthly donors. I'm sure your folks are going to say, yeah, let's go find those people, right? But if you can have a budget line item that's monthly giving only, right, on the top of the budget, because that money you can count on, it's there visually for everybody to see, because nobody knows the value of those monthly donors unless they see it, right? And you can say, okay, well, we're going into the next fiscal year with this much money already coming in. And then if we're doing these campaigns to generate new monthly donors, we're going to end the year with even more money feeding into next year, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's money that you can count on. And seeing it, like those organizations that have been successful, they have that like line item budget, basically, broken out. because, you know, and I know like a lot of times nonprofits are like channel focused, like they have a direct mail person and they have an email
Yeah.
person, they have a social media person. The reality is, so standards like monthly giving, it's fed by all of that. So
Mhm.
having it as one line item that everybody contributes to is key. And I think as you grow, people will say, "Oh my God, I had no idea that this was the value," right? So it's you know, like, and I think it may require you as a bottom up to start, and again, you know, like, and it may be that it comes from the top down. And sometimes again, it's a matter of like getting the buy-in, but once they see that power, they're like, huh, can we get more of these, please? You know, so how do we do this, right? So
Mhm.
but it's also, again, it's important to remember that this is not a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
It's a constant, right? It's like, where can we
When you
have
make
these
the commitment,
opportunities? Yeah.
you should really commit to a minimum of 1 year, 2 years,
Yes.
forever. Probably you want to
Well,
say
I mean,
forever.
I would say forever, because again, you know, that's how you can really grow, right? And again, sometimes it's like, yeah, like, let me just try an email appeal. I was talking to an
Yeah.
organization, they're like, okay, we got like two monthly donors. And it's like, well, how many emails did you send? Oh, we sent out 350 people. Oh, okay. You know, so that's like just not enough, right? To really start
Yeah.
growing, right? So you have to repeat it and repeat it some more, because you just basically planted the seed the first time.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes donors have to see it multiple times, right?
Oh,
So,
I've
yeah,
heard the rule of 17,
17.
that a
Oh,
typical person has to receive the same message. It could be in different media
yeah.
17 times
Oh, I thought it
before it
was
really
7.
sinks in.
I hadn't heard 17. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it
Yeah.
was 7. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, let
Yeah.
me ask you, we were talking about changes since COVID that aren't going away. I think one of them is the hybrid workplace, in
Yes.
which in nonprofits, some of the employees are working from home some of the week, some of them are working in the office the other part of the week. How does monthly giving fit into a hybrid workplace?
I think the one thing is, like, it's really important that whoever does the data entry, and you know, that is PCI compliant. So that's the key in a lot of, like, you know, these
By the way,
yeah.
could you just quickly explain what PCI compliant is?
I'm not a PCI compliance expert,
It's
but I
about
mean,
privacy,
it's
right?
about privacy. It's just
Yeah.
like that the information that's on, you know, like, say you're asking your donor to
Yeah.
complete a reply form and it has the credit card information on it.
Yeah.
That needs to be behind lock and key, and you know, so you can't share that, you can't send that. I mean, you know, you can't scan that in and send it to anybody. You know, it needs to be totally private. And the same with bank account information. So it just, like, you know, so you have to have a PCI compliance policy. So your finance folks need to know what that is. So make sure that is in place. Whoever has the database access needs to be, you know, I
Mhm.
mean, that needs to be screened and totally confidential, right? So but yeah, it's basically, you don't want to leak any
No.
donors or information. So yeah, so make sure that that's PCI compliant. But other than that, I think the other piece is that having a personal, like, connection with somebody in the organization a lot of times is really key. And you want to make sure that there's a clear phone number and a clear email address, like, and a person that the monthly donor can contact if they have questions. Or if, God forbid, they want to change their amount, or if they want to cancel their
Or
monthly
by the
gift,
way, or their credit card is changing.
or their credit card is changing, you know, so they want to be able to contact somebody. Make it easy. Put it in every email, receipt. Hey, if you have, like, questions, or if you need to make some changes, contact, you know, Jim Eskin, this phone number, this email address, right? So, and you know, and that is really key with, if you're working from home, that phone is forwarded to whomever is answering the phone, right?
Yeah.
So that it doesn't go into the black hole.
Yeah.
And nobody contacts, the donor.
And of
because-
course, more and more, we're giving out cell phone numbers too.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So
Hey, you should like this question. Do you have a favorite monthly giving success story or two?
yeah, I mean, I have a number of them. I think if I want to talk about like a small organization, so a small organization had like 500 volunteers, not a lot of staff, and they had a board member that says, hey, we really want to grow this sustainable revenue. So they put up a $5,000 match. So the organization sent out an email to its volunteers and says, hey, we're looking for 25 new monthly donors because it will help, keep the lights on in our organization. And, and if we get to that 25, we're going to get $5,000 from, a generous donor. And they were really not sure what they were going to get. So, and we did a 2 emails with this messaging, and they were able to get 38 new monthly donors from their volunteers. So again, volunteers, obviously stuff has changed with COVID a little bit, but volunteers sometimes have a little bit of discretionary money, right? Or they're retired and they might be on a fixed income, so they might be
I
willing
love
to.
volunteers because they demonstrated their
Yes.
commitment to the mission.
Yes. So they care about your organization. They want to make sure that it succeeds, right? So you want to, definitely ask them, right? So that was just one success story. So there's another one. They had 15 monthly donors, and we said, all right, well, let's look at what's the value, and then let's set a goal. Goals are really important as well, right? So set a goal. And they said, well, let's triple the number. Let's triple 15 to 45 in the next 6 months. And we did a couple of small things. Every email, they added a give monthly button. So they have a donate now and a give monthly. So, and that's, again, there's some big organizations, that's what they're doing. Well, guess what? They tested it, right? So, and that give monthly obviously goes to the give monthly only page, right? So, and after, and then they did a small match campaign. They were celebrating their 35th anniversary, $3,500 match, looking for 35 new monthly donors. Well, guess what? They got 40 new monthly donors. They got the $3,500, and at the end of the year, they were at 85 monthly donors. So instead of the 45, they exceeded that by 40, right?
Wow.
But just a couple of things, that they were doing, just adding the opportunities for the donors to consider it, right?
Yeah. Hey, we always like board members to lead by example. Do you have some advice on getting board members to lead by example and commit to monthly giving?
Yeah, great question. So especially for nonprofits that have mission focused board members, give them the opportunity instead of like asking them for the $1,000 check, giving them the opportunities to give $85 a month. That's also $100 a year, right? And then invite them to share why they're giving monthly with everybody else and put it on video. Would you like, Jim? Hey, you love being on, Zoom, right? So let's why are you giving monthly, right? So, so ask your board members to consider. So that's one thing. The other piece is have them make thank you calls to monthly donors. Have them write thank you notes to monthly donors. So that way they can feel more part of the growth process.
Hey, do you have any data on how the transactions are typically made for monthly gifts? Credit card, debit card, automated bank withdrawal, things like that.
Yeah. Again, I'm waiting for the most recent stats from the Black Bus Sustainable Benchmarking as well. I mean, it's credit card is still the bulk of monthly giving. You're looking at probably 80%, 85%.
People love to pick up those points.
Right, exactly. I mean, PayPal is still pretty solid as well. So 5 to 10%, and then EFT, the last stat I saw was about 5% of all giving was
Ah.
EFT, but it's growing. I'm sure it's probably closer to 10% now. So yeah.
Hey, Margie, give us a little time and we'll see what cryptocurrency is factoring in there. We don't have that yet. What are this stewardship, saying thank you, acknowledging and saluting our donors is so important. What's your advice on a good stewardship strategy for a monthly donor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's really again, when you ask somebody to make a monthly gift, tell them that you're going to send them updates on how their gifts are making a difference.
Yeah.
And tell them that they're going to get a tax letter every January.
You're
Those
not sending them. You're not sending them a thank you letter 12 times a year.
No.
No.
You're telling them like, we're going to send you, instead of sending you 12 thank you letters a year, we're going to send you a tax letter every January with a complete overview of all your giving. And then take a look at what you can do or what you're already doing that you can customize or make it more personal. So again, I said, if you send an e-news, then say, thanks for your ongoing support, monthly support, right? As the first line in that e-news, right? If you're sending an email around Giving Day, include the thank you so much for your ongoing monthly support. I want to, share this story with you, or today is Giving Tuesday, or whatever the Giving Day is that you have, right? Special day, right? There's like, I was like talking to a woman, from Houston, and she she does something with International Friendship Day, which is like July 30th. There's so many special days, like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. There's so many special days, some special day that works in your organization that you can say, hey, today is, Red Nose Day, whatever. And, I want to just say thank you for your monthly gift, right? If you're doing virtual tours, or if you have a video, a thank you video, I mean, use some of the things that you may have done during COVID and tap into it. I mean, donors are not going to remember that you sent them a video 6 months ago.
Yeah.
They really are not. So take an inventory in what's going on. If you have major gifts in your organization, maybe somebody's doing something in major gifts. Can you borrow that? If you're doing events, invite your monthly donors to events. If you're local and you have monthly donors come to your event, give them, a special star or something on their name tag. So that way there was like, what's that star on your name? Why? How come I don't have one? It's like, well, I'm a monthly donor, So then you can have like some discussion, right? So there's a lot of, again, low-hanging, non-expensive things that you can do. And I know people ask me like, well, should I have swag or tchotchkes? And the answer is probably not. Yes, are there organizations that do that? Yes, another t-shirt, another tote bag, another water bottle. Yeah. But most donors don't want that. So
they don't have a place to put it.
Right.
They don't have a place to put it.
And especially if you're older, we're all trying to simplify and get rid of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, don't, but ask them to be engaged with your organization. They want that. They do want to be engaged. They want to hear from you how their gifts are making a difference.
Erica, this has been such a rich discussion. We got a few minutes left. John, I have one more question I want to ask Erica, but I want to assure we get our learning community in. Do I see some questions in the Q&A box, John?
Yeah, I think you answered both of these, but Ingrid asked, what difference does it make if you do or don't give regular giving programs a name? And you just touched on that. Does it matter that much? And I think
I mean, it's helpful with recognition. So, but it's not the reason why donors give monthly, but it does help to make them feel part of a special community. So it certainly can't hurt, but it's not like, don't let it hold you up. So you can always, and I've seen this happen, like, I've been given monthly for 2 years, and all of a sudden, like, well, we just launched this Guardians Club, whatever. So that's okay. right?
Yeah, and that dovetails right into the other. Susan said, acknowledge your monthly donor groups in your annual report.
Yeah, if you're still doing that, I mean, make them feel part of it.
Or
Absolutely.
your website.
Or your
Hey,
website.
one more.
Yeah.
I want to get where you're going to share Erica's contact information. And again, we want to get you to her website. But I had a final question. Yeah, I think I got time for it. Rule of thumb is that Jim can give, that's the way, by the way, Erica's not going to hide. You have her email address, you go to her cell phone number, and do yourself a favor and go to her website. There are a lot of resources that you'll find very valuable for your operation. Here's my question. The rule of thumb is that Jim can give several times more through his estate than he can through his income and wealth. Can you talk about the connection between monthly donors and legacy donors?
Yeah. So again, monthly donors tend to be smaller donors. They don't have the big check capacity, right? But they're like and this is based on a UK study, they're 6 times more likely to leave you in their will.
Wow.
So again,
repeat that.
Yeah, they're 6 times more likely to leave you in their will.
Right? I like those odds, by the way.
Yes. So plant the seed. So once you have a monthly donor and you're sending them that tax letter every January, put in a box slip about legacy giving, right? Or send a survey, right? Surveys are great, right? The great stewardship opportunities. Send a survey and ask them if they've already, like left you in their will, or if they would like more information, right? So it's just like anything. You got to start planting the seeds about that opportunity. So
yeah. Hey, Erica Waasdorp, again, thank you for being a guest here. I'm excited that I might see you before the end of the year over a big bowl of clam chowder. And again, Erica Waasdorp is the plan giving expert. She's tireless. She's a lifelong learner, and she's a lifelong sharer. And I personally want to thank you for the leadership you have provided other practitioners and consultants. You are such a rich resource to the nonprofit sector. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Bobby Clark. Thank you to our learning community. And we'll see you 2 Wednesdays from now. And I want to thank everybody in our learning community who is either a professional or a volunteer nonprofit leader. In some way, you are touching, improving, and saving more lives. So we really value the way you make the world a better place to be. And you understand more money means more mission, and monthly giving means more money. Erica, I look forward to seeing you soon. And thank you to the learning community.
Thank you. Thanks, Ingrid. Okay. Bye.